You know, I've been sitting out the last 2 days, and I've been sitting out in the choir, right? I mean, Chuck's put these people together. Think of this, the world-class speakers we've been able to get come up here. Grover Norquist, Herman Cain, Charlie Kirk yesterday, if you saw him, our state leaders like Ron and NPRI. It's just amazing. But what I realized, as I was out in the choir, now I'm going to come out and speak to you guys who are the choir. We're all kind of saying the same thing, right? But so what I want to do is I'm going to kind of go through some points, but I want to hit on a couple points that that I don't know if you want to look underneath the curtain or not, but I'm willing to go there if you guys want to.
Yes,
okay?
yes.
So, first of all, I want to point out, like we've been hearing over and over and over. By the way, thank you, Chuck, because to have these world-class speakers here, I mean, all I had to do is get out of my bed this morning. And you know, I didn't have to travel all the way to DC or on the CPAC, and it's just phenomenal. So really, really, really appreciate it. And you guys should too. Yeah. Thank Chuck like crazy, and get more people out here. Okay. For our nation's history, there have been times when good people like I'm talking about you, by the way, I'm looking at you guys out there. There have been times when good people have had to set aside their normal lives and really step up. We've heard that term, step up, quite a few times today. I mean, think about it. The greatest generation in World War II. Even our founding fathers. Can you think about the sacrifices and the things they had to do for us? And as Gordon was saying yesterday, it was over a 3% tax. We're like 50% now, but they set aside their lives for a 3% tax. Okay, they sacrificed themselves and sacrificed for the cause to the level that gave us what we have now. And to illustrate this point, I want to put out a quote that happened over 150 years ago, okay? Because I believe we're in a time right now where we do have to really step up. Not like we've been doing, but we really have to step up. It goes like this. From whence shall we expect the approach of danger? Shall some transatlantic military giant step the earth and crush us at a blow? Never. All the armies of Europe and Asia could not by force take a drink from the Ohio River or make a track on the Blue Ridge in the trail of 1,000 years. No. If destruction be our lot, must ourselves be its author and finisher. As a nation of free men, we will live forever or die by suicide. Live forever or die by suicide. That was Abraham Lincoln. Of course, back then, he was talking about the issues of preserving the Union, slavery, and states' rights. But now, what do we have? We have to look. We are at a time right now when us good people have to look if we can continue with the status quo. Can we continue to remain silent and just go along with this out-of-control liberal craziness?
Nope.
You know, on a real quick point, I want to put this. My wife and I were blessed. We got to go to the Trump and Hillary debate when it was here in Las Vegas. Now, what they did is they had security outside, so they bussed us in to the event. And then we got to sit there, and of course, the liberals were really, really outlandish with their statements. They said, don't say anything during the event because we want to keep it quiet. But we were sitting next to these liberals who were just throwing negative, carping criticism during the debate out loud against our president. It got so much I had to say to somebody. I said to the guy next to me, I said, are you kidding me? Have you ever actually made a paycheck side the front of a paycheck with what you're saying? And when we were leaving, Amy and I were sitting in the bus, and these, can I use the term jackasses? These jackasses were so loud. Oh my God, Trump would not accept the election results. By the way, who didn't accept the election results? And they were just so boisterous and so over the top. And Amy stood up and started getting in their face. And I said, honey, it doesn't do any good to talk to these people. I kind of held her back. Maybe I shouldn't have. But that's the way they are. Okay? So when we're looking at these people, a couple years ago, I came to the realization that we, the good people, have got to do something. Okay? So, 15 years ago, I left the Republic of California. I left an idyllic, beautiful place where I grew up, where all my family's at. It's just a few miles from the beach. It's green. It's got mountains. It's got great temperature for the Nevada desert. It's 120 degrees. Hot as heck. It's a metropolis. Now, I did that for the specific reason that I could no longer stand to live where there's persecution of people that actually produce value for society. There's persecution for people that actually want to work, and they want to continue to reward people that don't work. So that's why I left, for a more freedom place. However, I saw this. Thank you. I saw that our state was starting to slip and starting to look like California, so I decided to run for the Nevada State Legislature. I was elected, and during our election cycle, we were so excited because in years and years and years, we took the Assembly, the Senate, and the Governor's Mansion in 2015. Hallelujah. I mean, talk about being ready for a good time. I thought personally, with all the campaign promises we've been making with the Republican platform, this is going to be a phenomenal. We're going to do some really good for our state. Of course, when I got up there, nothing could be further from the truth. Soon after we got up there, our governor started promoting this commerce tax, the same darn commerce tax, which had a different name, that lost at the polls by 80% to 20%. Okay? He starts promoting this. And what really frustrated me is we know that the casinos have their lobbyists. We know that mining has their lobbyists. We know this. But no one was watching out for the small to medium-sized business. Of course, the chamber said they were. They tell their members they are. But the chamber commissioned a study and it said absolutely that commerce tax would be bad for business. It would do the things that Ron talked about, that John from MPRI talked about. And yet, what did the chamber do? They shelved that study because it didn't say what they wanted to do, and they pushed for this tax. Now, a number of, I'm going to say this, naive Republicans went along, either for personal greed and because they're swamp creatures, or because they've never signed in front of a check. Unfortunately, many of the guys up there, they've worked jobs where they've never had to run a business, so they have no reality on what it's like to run a business. By the way, I do have a reality on what it's like to run a business. Please drink real water. Okay, that being said, I asked them, how could you guys vote for this tax? And universally said, because the business community wanted it. That was their excuse. That was their way out, because the chamber overtly promoted that the business community wanted this. What a bunch of bull. Of course, right? So that's when I decided, you know what? Somebody's got to create something, an organization that actually looks out for the small to medium-sized business in our states, because I saw what happened. And that's why I started the Real Chamber. And one of the things in this last legislative session I wanted to just point out, Las Vegas Metro Chamber, which has been around since the 40s, I believe, of the 1900s, actually when I went and testified against the $15 minimum wage. And when the chamber was testifying, Frierson, who is the leader of the Democrats in the Assembly, had to go to Paul, the lobbyist guy, during the hearing. Paul, are you guys for the $15 minimum wage or against it? I can't tell by what you're saying. He had to ask him, and Paul said, "Well, we just want to have a seat at the table." Are you kidding me? The Metro Chamber cannot even come out against a $15 an hour minimum wage. Do you know how destructive that would be? You can hear what's happening in Seattle, okay? So, how did we get to this point? Here's what I'm going to poke you in the eye. You guys don't mind. I know I'm preaching to the choir again, but how did we get to this point? How did we get so far left where we're so far away from our founding fathers' vision, the vision of limited government, the vision of personal responsibility, the vision of hard work ethic? How did we get so far away from that? Well, unfortunately, all we have to do is look in the mirror. What have we been doing? What have I been doing? Every time they pack on another regulation, every time they pack on another tax, every time they pack on another penalty, what do? I would run harder on my hamster wheel. I'd put my head down and just run harder. I just run harder. I'm telling you now, the wheels are falling off the hamster wheel. We can no longer just keep doing this. We have got to step up. We've got to be the patriots that sacrificed so much to create what we've enjoyed for so long. If we don't do it, if us here don't do it, go to the DMV and see what the average American looks like. You'll be amazed at what they look like. We're the only ones that can do it. We're the only ones that can rise up and get active and truly sacrifice beyond what we've been doing. Of course we're here, and we spent yesterday, we took work off, but we have to go way, way, way beyond that. I'm just telling you that. We have to go way, way beyond it. We have to get out of our comfort zone. We have to go into massive action. Okay, I want to give you another quote. Oh, before I do, just an idea of how bad it's gotten. Do you guys know this week is the 229th anniversary of the ratification of our great Constitution?
Yep.
So say hallelujah to that.
Hallelujah!
Yes. Okay. I'm going to get this right. The Annenberg Public Policy Center commissioned a study on because of the Constitution, the anniversary, and it found out, you won't be able to believe this, 26% of those respondents knew the three branches of government. Only 26%. Okay? 40% could name one or two, but only 40% could name one or two. 20% didn't. This is the dumbing down of our society. What's going on? Our educational system, like Charlie talked about yesterday, we are indoctrinating our kids. We're dumbing them down. We're teaching them that our founding fathers are bad men. They're bad people. We're teaching them that capitalism is bad. That's what we're paying our money to do. We've got to stop it because we are not the bad people. We are the good people. We've got to use the history and logic. You know, 60 years ago, there was a book written called Atlas Shrugged. Ayn Rand, if you have not read it, I strongly suggest it. It is a phenomenal book. She wrote it 60 years ago in the 50s. That book is playing out today to the T. She was so prophetic, but right now we're in this battle. And it's up to us. So I'm going to give you another quote. Okay? Edmund Burke famously said, "The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing." Therefore, I say we the good men and women of our country, we're the ones that have the awareness. We must be willing to go into action, massive action. We must be able to confront those flaming liberals who are getting in our face and just being ridiculous. We can no longer be politically correct and go the status quo. We just can't. We're at a point where we can no longer do it. We all know what Thomas Jefferson so correctly said. Eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. Eternal vigilance. That's what we must do. We do not want to be the generation that has enjoyed so much that because of what our founding fathers did, to lose this, to allow this to slip away. Do we? Do you guys want to be that generation?
No.
I sure as heck don't. I don't want to give my kids socialism. I don't want to give my kids. The educational system is teaching that socialism is good. I tell them, go to Cuba, where they're still driving 50s cars because they can't even own new cars. I tell them, go to Venezuela, where the average Venezuelan lost 20 pounds last year because they don't have enough food. I tell them, go to Russia and see how it's like to live in that society. Big government does nothing but use force to persecute and harm its people. But you know what? Just like Atlas Shrugged, we are the ones that produce. We're the good people that create value for society. So why are we allowing these people to take from us? Well, we're the ones that do the hard work. Why do we allow it? That's where we have to look at ourselves. I want to kind of cap this off with another quote from Abraham Lincoln. Do any of you guys like Abraham Lincoln, by the way?
Yeah.
He's kind of one of my favorite presidents, I must admit. Okay? A house divided against itself cannot stand. I believe this government cannot endure permanently, half slave and half free. I do not expect the Union to be dissolved. I do not expect the house to fall, but I do expect it to cease being divided. It will become all one thing or all the other. Do we want a socialist, persecuted big government?
Nope.
Or do we want freedom, the facts that we establish what we have today? What we have. Now look we have a chance right now. We've been going the wrong way for 65 years as other speakers, but we have a chance right now because we elected Donald Trump president. Donald Trump is fighting those swamp creatures so hard that they're distracted right now. They're worried and they're attacking him so hard. But what does that do? That means that a lot of people's eyes are off the ball. And that's where we need to step up. We need to be the cavalry. We need to come in and really make it happen. And again, and I'm not talking about attending a few meetings like this. We have got to go into massive action. In that regard, That's one of the reasons why the World Chamber is there. So if any of you have businesses, I encourage you to join the World Chamber, because I'm willing to take the hits. I'm willing to, when I come out, what I say, have OSHA show up and fine me every other month. Have the fire department come in and tell me I have to shut down if I don't spend another $10,000. I'm willing to take those hits because I know how important it is for my children to enjoy this great country, because we are the only country that is the beacon of hope and prosperity in the entire world. If we fall, the world's going. The global economy's here. Okay? So support NPR. Support the freedom. Help repeal this commerce tax. And again, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for being who you are, because you guys are the special people.
She is the most fascinating woman in the world. In her presence, wild animals display intelligent talents. Elvis impersonators impersonate her. The king of the jungle bows at her feet.
I always drink water, and when I do, I fancy real water.
Stay hydrated, my friends.